for the YouTube subscribers. Go subscribe already. Hit the fucking like button, subscribe before I knock your ass out, man. I ain't fucking with you, man.
UFC Jacksonville on ABC, an early start time, guys. Keep that in mind. 12 p.m. early fights, main card at 2 p.m. It's a fun main event, guys. Fun main event. Cards, few good fights on the card. I'm looking forward to this card. A little better than a normal, I guess, the UFC Vegas Apex card. We got Topuria versus Emmett. Fun fight. I'll break down that fight. Full main card. Provide free picks, leans, and what to avoid, along with some pricing talk as well. SystemSportsCapping.com to receive my personal plays for this card. Out Friday after the weigh-ins. Also, give me a follow over on social media, guys. Free video plays over there. We're 12-3 since starting the short video plays, about 60 seconds, over on TikTok and Instagram. So give me a follow over there. Also on Twitter. Everything sports betting over there. Let's do a UFC Vegas 75 recap, another profitable card for myself and clients and free play video viewers if you tail along. What a performance from Cannonier, right? I lean Cannonier. I did like the fight to go the distance a little more, so I did back that for clients. But yeah, we did lean Cannonier's side, and he looked outstanding. I didn't think he would look that good, to be honest. I thought, Vettori had a little more for him, but Cannonier just picked him apart for 5 rounds, right? The reason why I liked the fight to go the distance was Vettori, his durability, probably the best in the UFC, if not one of the best. He took shots all fight. Cannonier landed the most significant strikes in the division. And he just kept coming forward, Vettori. Didn't even look like he was that hurt. A couple times he did get wobbled, but he just doesn't go down. Very tough guy, Vettori. He just doesn't have the movement and skills on the feet that Cannonier did. And it was an impressive fight for Cannonier all around. Outclassed Vettori everywhere. I was also on the Mexican fighter Torres by finish at plus money. Also had him in a 2-fight parlay that cashed as well. That was my favorite play on the card last week, was Torres to win. I gave it out for you guys as well and mentioned it to be my favorite play on the card. So hopefully you did tail that. Excited to see what Torres has. Another Mexican fighter that's added to the top of these Mexican rosters right now. There's so many good Mexican fighters right now. I hope they get back to Mexico for a fight card. It would be crazy over there. Only loss on the card was Salikov. Denmark, the Danish fighter found a way. It was a close fight, but he did a little more, Darby, and Salikov just didn't have his A stuff in that fight. 2003 update, 67% win, guys, on the year win percentage for clients. Very happy with that, getting close to that 70% range, which we have hit for a full year before, which you won't find in the market in UFC and NFL. So hopefully you've been tailing me, guys, on the free video plays. Usually just maybe one wrong per card, which is I'm very happy with. And clients, if you want the client card, receive my personal plays that I bet myself. Head over to the website. It's another good year in the UFC. Didn't expect anything less. PGA, another profitable major for myself and clients, making it 8 straight out of the last 9 majors. Another free play winner as well. We've been doing free play videos, like I mentioned at the top of this video. We're 12-3, 80% on those. We hit a matchup attacking Day. Jason Day in the market, Hatton over Day. 65% on matchups on the year in the PGA. 7 outrights. I just released an how to bet on golf video. Check that out. I get a few guys reaching out to me. Oh, how do you bet on golf? How do you do so well on golf? Go over to my video. I just released it yesterday on how to bet on the golf market. A lot of people aren't familiar how to bet on the golf market, so thought I'd do it. There's also a free play there as well. NFL is around the corner, so here's an update the last 2 years. Let's hear from my friend Meredith before we get into this card.
Guys, Meredith Gorman here, and are you still not subscribed to Matt's channel? Well, if you're not, hit the subscribe button because he's giving out free picks each and every week. Hope you have a good rest of your day.
Main event, Topuria, minus 390. I've seen some 340s out there just moved. I see some 400s out there. I think 390 is going to be the best you can get Topuria in the market versus Josh Emmett plus 250. Definitely shop around if you like Topuria here. It's hard to get him on a straight bet at this number, of course. But if you do like him, he could be a 2-fight parlay piece this week. I do like him in this fight. Best price currently I see is probably at FanDuel in the main markets. This should be a fun fight. Both guys look to finish the fight, right? Both guys have power and both very well-rounded. I would say Topuria is more well-rounded. I think he can win the fight anywhere. I think he can get a submission here over Emmett. If you look at the market currently, KO and TKO or submission are about fairly even, up low plus money. So it's hard to determine how Topuria is going to win this fight, if it's going to be in submission or if it's going to be on the feet. So if you do like him, I do suggest to, lay the price here and maybe a 2-fight parlay. It's going to be difficult to predict how he's going to win this fight. What I can say is I don't see it going 5 rounds. This is Topuria's first fight that's 5 rounds. They both look like they want to go for finishes in their fights. I have a hard time seeing this fight going 5 rounds, right? And the books tell you that it's minus 800 for the fight to go all 5 rounds, the fight to end, and not go all 5 rounds. So that tells you something here. But there's just not a lot of value to determine how Topuria is going to win this fight, right? Some books have Topuria just to finish, right? Sub TKO or KO, and you're looking at minus 300, minus 280. It's just there's no value there. So I'm going to have to look at Topuria just to win this fight in the main market, and I'll find a player with him in a 2-fight parlay. Topuria just very well-rounded, very confident. That's what I love about him. His confidence is through the roof. If you watch his interviews this week, very confident how he's going to knock out Alexander Volkanovski when he gets a title shot, how he's going to finish Emmett in a few rounds. Very confident. You like to see that when you're backing a guy with your money, right? And I've been high on Topuria for a year or two now, ever since he came in. You see what he did to Bryce Mitchell last time. Bryce Mitchell was supposed to be a big-time grappler wrestler. Topuria looked like the big-time grappler wrestler. He was better everywhere. Very impressive what I've seen from Topuria. Now, I do have to mention, a couple things here with Emmett, right? This is going to be Topuria's toughest test yet against Josh Emmett. Right, Josh Emmett does have a nice hook, left hook, does have power to hurt Topuria. We have seen Topuria rocked before in that Jay Herbert fight. He took it on short notice, keep in mind, but he did get rocked, but he came back and showed why I think he can be a champion in this division is because he was able to recover from that damage that he sustained against Jay Herbert. So keep that in mind. Emmett does have the power to hurt Topuria in this fight. However, I think Topuria is just going to be too slick. All well-rounded, very well-rounded guy, right? I do think he can take down Emmett. Emmett does have some wrestling, but I do think he could take him down. His boxing's very good, Topuria. But there are a couple concerns with Topuria, why I don't agree with this line. This line's very high. If I was doing this line and it first came out, I'd probably have Topuria maybe a high 200s, 280, 275. Just because we haven't seen him in a 5-round main event. We haven't seen him against competition like Emmett that has the power to end the fight, right? So that's something to keep in mind here, even though I do like Topuria to get his hand raised at the end of the day. And it's most likely by a finish. Hard time seeing this go 5 rounds, guys. Very difficult time seeing this fight going 5 rounds. So that will be the play for me, Topuria to win this fight, most likely by finish. And this guy's not too far from a title shot. If he beats Emmett here, there's a good chance he can fight Volkanovski next if Volkanovski beats Yair Rodriguez. That's a pretty quick climb. But he continues to look good in his fights. And if he looks good against Emmett here and finishes the fight, hard to say he's not going to get Volkanovski next. And Volkanovski's always willing to fight the guy they're talking about next, the guy that could beat him. So that would be an interesting one. Co-main Ribas minus 200 versus Macy Barber plus 152. Another line I don't really agree with here. I do think Ribas should be a slight favorite due to, I do think she has a grappling and possibly wrestling advantage here. We have seen Barbara struggle at times in that department. Her last fight against Lee, even though she did win, and Barbara is on a 4-fight win streak, keep that in mind. Lee was able to take her down at times. Lee's not a good wrestler. Barbara did struggle there, but Barbara is crafty on the feet. She does like to bring the fight, and I do think she has a striking advantage over Ribas. Right, so if you're giving me a plus 152, I have to start thinking about playing the underdog here with Barber in a fight that I see Ribas maybe minus 150. I do think this line's a little bit off, right? Ribas struggles on the feet. Not a great striker, but if she does stick to the game plan of trying to make this a grappling fight, I do think she has the advantage there over Barber. But Barber's on a nice 4-fight win streak. Ribas up and down in the UFC. However, Ribas is losing to higher level girls, right, than Barber. Chukagian, Marina Rodriguez, just very good strikers, right? So if Ribas decides to just stand and bang with Barber, I'll be happy if I'm holding a Barber ticket at plus 152. However, I do think her game plan should be just try to grapple and make this one ugly. And I do think there is a way she wins that fight. And that's the path for her to win this fight. Is to just grapple, try to find maybe a submission at some point, or try to keep this fight down there. So if I had to bet this fight, gun to my head, I would have to take the value with Barbara at plus 152. Tough fight to bet on, though. I do think Ribas obviously can get the job done here. I do think she continues to improve fight after fight. So this probably won't make my client card this weekend, but due to the pricing with Barber and her looking pretty good in her last 4 fights, she continues to win fights, find ways to win fights, either due to the volume on the feet or landing the bigger shot throughout the fight. There's some value at plus 152. Will it make my client card? Probably not. If it did, it would be for a very small unit on Barber. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if just Ribas controls her on the ground and finds maybe a submission or just wins a decision due to the control time by Ribas. Tafa minus 185 versus Lane plus 160. A fight I don't want any part of, and I'll be passing, right? Low tier, bottom of the barrel heavyweights is not something I suggest ever to bet on, guys. This is a pass for me and should be for you as well. But for you degenerates that want to bet every fight, let's take a quick look at it. Lane seems to get this fight. I think he lived in Jacksonville, and he also played for the Jacksonville Jaguars. So that's interesting here. So he has some ties in Jacksonville. Tafa's coming off back-to-back wins versus bottom of the barrel, bottom of the division guys. Both first round finishes, and that's how I see this fight going. This fight's going to have a knockout at some point, probably in the first or second round. So that's something to look at here. Minus 900 for this fight not to go the distance. That tells you everything here. Lane, he's been fighting lower level guys, right? Regional scene fights. He has the 1 win on the Dana White Contender Series. But he has a bunch of losses as well, along with Tafa. This is just a fight I will not be involved in. I expect both guys to go out and slug it out, and anyone could get caught at the end of the day, right? Tafa probably could take a little more punishment. I lean his way, but at minus 185, I won't be betting this fight. Again, maybe Lane fighting at home gives us some extra motivation. Maybe he catches Tafa. Lane's going to be the bigger guy in there, height-wise, and probably the more athletic guy with his NFL background, but I'll be staying away from this one. Lean Tafa, won't be betting it, though. Onama, plus 186 versus Santos, minus 245. And another fight I have to say, guys, there's value here on the underdog. Santos 0-1 the UFC. Some people thought he won that debut. Impressive performance against a tough guy in Murphy on the road in UK. On short notice. It was like a split decision. It was very close. Some people thought that Santos won. Santos faded late in that fight, and you get it. It was a 3-day notice fight. But Santos has some good wrestling and grappling, and that's where I think he will be able to win this fight, is in that department, right? Onama, good striker. So if this fight stays on the feet, Onama could catch him. Onama could win this fight, and it's very tempting at plus 186. I like Onama. His 2 losses, obviously against very tough guys. Mason Jones, on short notice. Remember, he fought Jones very tough. That was a short notice fight. And Nate Landwehr, we know Nate Landwehr very tough. He was able to take down Onama a lot in that fight. And that's what could happen here against Santos. Santos has the wrestling advantage, grappling advantage. If this fight stays on the feet, sure. Onama has a great shot. Onama is very durable as well. So I have a hard time seeing, Onama getting finished in this fight. He's live at this price. I have to just tell you that, guys, at plus 186. Probably won't make my client card because I am leaning Santos due to the wrestling advantage. Anytime a guy has a wrestling advantage, we saw Nate Landwehr take him down multiple times in that fight. That does kind of concern me and keeps me away from betting Onama at this big underdog price. So I think Santos should get it done. Won't be surprised if Onama gets the job done. And if you're putting a little smaller unit on Onama to get the win here at this price, even if you can get if you can start getting plus 200 and north of it, I wouldn't call you crazy to take a shot there. Fun one to open up the main card, guys. Fun one, Brandon Allen minus 180 versus Bruno Silva plus 146. Allen has been on a tear lately, and he's starting to look like that big prospect that he was, right? He had some issues at the beginning of his career. He thought he was a striker, and he wanted to just stand and bang. He could strike, don't get me wrong, but getting into a stand-up war with another guy, you're flipping a coin, right? Who's going to win? Let's just slug it out. Brandon Allen is a very good wrestler and grappler, right? 12 submissions, guys. Back-to-back submission wins. This is where he wants to get the fight against Silva. Guys, Silva has been submitted 6 times out of his 8 losses. Okay, this is why Allen is a plus 175 to win by submission. You're not going to see that a lot. You're not going to see submissions at this low of a cost in most fights. And if Allen is smart and fights how he has been in his last 4 wins, he's going to take down Silva with his wrestling and just find a submission at some point. So my play is going to be Allen. Minus 180 is not terrible. Could this go a decision? Possibly. It's possible, even though I do think this fight ends before the judges' scorecard. So I'm gonna play Allen in some capacity here. I don't love this plus 175. No value there on the submission, even though I do think I have a submission as the favorite. Could be a TKO ground and pound stoppage as well if he decides to wrestle and keep this fight down to the ground. So that's something to keep in mind here. But I do like Allen to get the win here. I do think he is continuing to improve fight after fight. He's using his smarts and not just standing and bang. The last guy you want to stand and bang in front of is Silva. We've seen Bruno Silva do decently on the feet against Alex Pereira, guys. Keep that in mind. Allen does not want to stand and bang with Silva. If he does, he's playing with fire. I just hope he goes into this fight, takes down Silva, and just dominates him there. We've seen him submit Andre Munoz, guys. Andre Munoz is a submission expert. And Allen, I put him in that category as well. So Allen wins this fight. Only way to lose this fight is obviously decide to stand and bang. I don't think he's going to do that. So I'm going to back Allen here. Probably my favorite play on the main card. Obviously Topuria I really like, but the pricing, right? And by submission is not a crazy thing to do. 12 submissions versus a guy that's been submitted 6 times. Do the math, guys. Should make my card in some way this weekend. Brandon Allen. That will do it, guys. That will do it. Fun card, pretty good card. I got some plays that I like also on the prelims that will be sent out to my clients on Friday. Early start time in Jacksonville. Remember that. UFC's loyal to Jacksonville, right? Jacksonville, I think, if I recall, was the first event they did in US after COVID. So they have some loyalty to Jacksonville, and I get it. That'll do it, guys. Like I always say, bet smart and know your limits. Take care.